Levels of intention. The higher your level of intention, the more likely it comes true. So let's look at the levels. At the first level, you have a thought. Second level, the actual intention or decision. Third level is the promise, much more powerful than the mere intention. And at an even higher level, you have what I call commitment. And at the top level, you have an oath, which is a bit too serious. So at the first level of thought, a mere thought or a mere opinion doesn't have quite as much power as an intention, or even better, a promise. Why? Because you have thousands of thoughts and opinions every day. Everybody has some opinion about something, but do your opinions actually make a difference in your life, a difference in the world? No, they do not. And if you want to take this for checking, why don't you stand in front of a tree and tell that tree your opinion? All of your opinions about everything, society, politics, men, women, gender, about the universe, cosmology, sociology, biology. Tell that tree your opinions, your religious opinions, anything that comes to mind, and guess what will happen? What will happen? Exactly nothing. Absolutely nothing. Your opinions don't have much of an impact. Thoughts that are not accompanied by emotion and action have very little effect on reality, even though all of these New Age books and videos like The Secret, Law of Attraction, all that, claim that your thoughts create your reality. It doesn't take too long to realize that that's just not so. Yes, thoughts are things. Yes, thoughts do interact with reality. Yes, thoughts do influence your perception. Yes, thoughts can magnetically attract certain events. I'm not saying that's not the case, but in and of themselves, they're not as strong as densified thoughts. So an intention or a decision is a densified thought. It's a thought made more dense. You've made a decision, and that actually has real life consequences. Every decision you make puts you on another timeline, another track of life. You see, most thoughts aren't even yours. They were put there by schooling, media, family, friends, or they were picked up out of the ether. Some of them might have been put there by aliens. What do I know? Many of these thoughts are not yours. You have millions over millions of thoughts a day. And it is not before you focus on one specific one that you start to activate that thought. Otherwise, it's just the next thought and the next and the next. So the first step is to pick one and then make a decision on it. And that makes it more powerful. The thought that you just had just now, do you remember sourcing it, originating it, creating it, intending it? Check. Look. Probably not. If you're honest, you'll find that it somehow appeared. From where did it appear? Why did it appear? Have you ever looked into this more deeply? Who put it there? If you don't recall deliberately choosing this thought, can you really say that it is your thought? If you don't even remember the thought a few hours from now, can it be said to be yours? You see, a thought doesn't really move the compass, but a promise does. An intention might, and a promise does. A promise is something that you remember making. You remember originating, sourcing the promise. It is therefore yours. It belongs to you. You know, if thoughts alone created reality, we'd be in real trouble. In and of themselves, they're not strong enough to permanently alter reality. Maybe repeated thoughts, maybe verbalized thoughts, more likely thoughts followed by actions, and most likely thoughts that are turned into decisions, or another step higher, promises. So right now, let's do an exercise. Make a promise to yourself or to somebody else of which you know for sure you can make it come true within the next 24 hours, within a day. And once you make that promise, be very sure to fulfill it, because your subconscious is always listening. This is a fantastic exercise in reality creation and conditioning your subconscious that your word can come true. With a promise, you are the author of your reality. As the author, you have authority. And if we take it another level higher, we have commitment. Do you know what commitment feels like? It's a contract. Unfortunately, so many overuse the word, especially in a corporate context. You know, they call mere thoughts and wishes commitments. And we hear, are you really committed? Yeah, I sure am committed. Let's do it, when they're not really committed from deep within, devoted. It's a devotion. Real commitment means there's no plan B. You're contractually obliged to A. A marriage is a true commitment. That's why there's so much fanfare around a marriage, to show that it's a real commitment. There's an investment you have to make, also money-wise. If you sign a contract, that's a real commitment. That's why you sign the contract, and there's certain punishments if you don't fulfill it. That's a true commitment. You know, if I say to you, make $1 million within a year, otherwise your family will be shot. What's your reaction to that? Well, if you're afraid of me, you'll likely have an unbending commitment to get the $1 million somehow. You'll get it somehow. Now, could you also generate that commitment without the threat of your family being shot? Well, of course you can. It's a matter of will. I'm just telling you the story so that you understand what commitment feels like. I can always tell if somebody's committed. I'll say, okay, if you don't make it, if you don't reach that goal, will you send me $50,000? And most people answer, no, of course not. No way. And that shows me that they don't even believe that they're going to achieve it, because commitment and belief go together. If you believe something, you're willing to commit to it, and there's no plan B. So if they really believed it would happen, they wouldn't even consider losing the 50,000. Do you follow? The highest level of thought intensity is the oath. And all great religions forbid taking an oath. Why? Because it's too serious, it's too rigid of a promise, it's a bit too dense. If I make a commitment, I can still back out of the contract through cancellation or paying a fee, but with an oath, or a blood oath, even more serious, the punishment for backing out is often death, or at the very least, extremely severe. So I don't recommend taking an oath, much less a blood oath. It's not necessary. You don't need to go that far. You're not that dense. Okay? You can make it come true without taking an oath that it's going to come true. But I do recommend you understand the intensity of thought behind the oath, so that you know how far an intention can go, how far commitment can go. You know, there's some people who sign off on a goal with their blood, and I don't recommend that either. Don't do that. That's not spiritually clean for various reasons, but some people go that far. That's how serious they are. And I say to you, you don't have to be serious, but at the very least, you can be wholehearted and sincere. Because with some sincerity, your goal manifests. Don't just be a dabbler who dabbles a little bit in this and a little bit in this and pecks around here and pecks around here like a chicken, but choose something that you really want to achieve and be sincere about it. Those are the levels of intention.